Hey folks, here OS Reviews. You're watching our retro throwback look at the hardware of the Protege II, which was an extremely simple PDA pocket organizer that was released almost a decade ago now, and it sold for about 35 bucks back then, so it was extremely cheap, and it was in the day where Palm PDAs as well as Pocket PCs were very cool, but also considered as expensive. Unfortunately, this one took cell batteries that have since corroded, and as a result no longer works, but I'm just going to take a retro look back at the hardware as well as some of the features and design of this, which made it kind of unique at the time. So the Protege II obviously is a successor to the original Protege, another super cheap low-frills PDA, which offered basic functionality in the form of quick memos, address books, and contacts, as well as email contacts you could store, but it offered zero wireless connectivity functions built in, so no Wi-Fi, there was no Bluetooth, no signal for any cellular data, so basically you're stuck with just some basic programs on here. Definitely not nearly as complex as even Palm OS back in the day, so you can't really install that many third-party apps either, just meant for basic organization functions. It used a rather small 2.4-inch TFT LCD resistive screen, which was a monochrome black and white panel, as expected, and kind of was the norm back then, and you can see that it proudly flaunted the touchscreen status, and it also came included with this very small plasticky and rather flimsy looking stylus for text entry as well as for input. So resistive screens, are not nearly as sensitive as the capacitive screens found on nearly every single gadget we have today. And it's a glass screen that was kind of first came out with the LG Prada and later with the first iPhone. It's a lot more sensitive, but for precision input, maybe resistive might be a little better, but for something like this, which really is just meant for basic viewability, again, the resistive screen is a bit of a nuance just because you have to really press quite hard on the screen for anything to occur, so that wasn't great. Otherwise, there really wasn't a backlight on this model, so viewing things in the dark was also a bit of a problem. Size-wise, it was about the same as early Palm PDAs, maybe slightly slimmer because as far as memory, as far as RAM is concerned, it's a lot lower as well. It came with a few different configurations, some as low as 2 megabytes and others with 8 and 16 megabytes of storage. So again, we're talking about much smaller than gigabytes that we have on our products today. So doing a quick maybe size comparison with some more retro objects, I suppose. There's a Nintendo Game Boy cartridge I found a few days ago. This is about the size next to that. For a more modern hardware, I suppose I could pop by a phone, just to give you guys a size comparison. This is the Nokia N9. It has a 4-inch screen, so you can see there, that is the size. So not terrible as far as portability. It is made entirely out of plastic, hence why the manufacturer could keep the cost so low, which makes it not feel like the strongest thing in the world, but it did work. The back features a reset pen as well as a mono kind of beep speaker. There's really not a reason to have an actual speaker just because you couldn't play back MP3 songs or music on here. It's just limited to some basic memos, and you can use it as an alarm function. So you can display clock, world calendar, and then waking up in the morning it would beep, and then you would have to hit the snooze key, and it goes back to snooze or turning it off. This is the battery latch on the bottom, and that's basically it. So pretty simple design all in all. Otherwise, again, as far as feature set is concerned, really as basic as things get. This is a product that you could have picked up back in the day at Office Depot, perhaps even some local drugstores, as well as low-cost office supply stores. So it was affordable than the other more professional and memorable versions of PDAs back in the day. Thanks for watching this retro look back and throwback of the hardware of the Protege II very basic pocket organizer here at OS Reviews.